Hey boys and girls, we have another video on fractions. This video is going to cover fractions that equal a half, zero, half, or a whole, or more than one whole. So 2, 3, 4. This is a really big part of fractions because oftentimes fractions come to more than a whole. And it's nice to be able to quickly think in your head how that works. We are going to look at it using pictures, number line, and math. Remember, if you struggle with any part of this, make sure you contact myself or your teacher and I can get you a more in-depth video. Also, I am showing you using a picture, number lines, and math. Do you need to do it every single way? No. You need to pick the way that works for you. So if you're struggling with a number line but a picture makes more sense, draw a picture. If the pictures don't really make more sense but the math makes more sense, do the math. If the number line makes some more sense, whatever works for you. So keep that in mind when I show you multiple ways to do something. Okay? So let's get right into it and see what we can do. So we have our pictures, we have our number line, and we have our fractions. Let's start with our pictures. So, for example, there we go. For example, if we had this fraction cut into fours, what would be the whole thing? Well, the whole thing would be all of it shaded in. Right? And what fraction would that be? Well, that would be 4 shaded out of 4 total pieces, right? Well, let's try that again, but a little different way. What if they were just shaded in? Let's say that one's shaded in, this one's shaded in, and this one's shaded in. Well, how many pieces is it broken into? It's broken into 1 pieces. How many pieces are shaded? 1, 2, 3. So 3 out of 1 are shaded. So what does this equal? This equals 1, 2, 3 wholes. So 3 over 1 equals 3 wholes. So going back to our fourths here, I didn't mean to erase it, I'm sorry. Going back to our fourths here though, if we cut it into fourths and shaded them all in, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We would have 12 out of 4, which also equals 3. Okay? So a whole is when we shade in the whole picture, but we have to think of what the whole picture looks like. Is the picture split up into 4 pieces? Is the picture split up into 1 piece? And how many of those pieces are shaded in? And what does that actually mean? It means I have 3 whole pieces shaded in. And I know that was kind of fast, but we're going to do it again on a number line. So same idea. If my number line goes from 0 to 1, we're just going to go to 0, 1, and it's split up into 4 pieces, and I label it 0 fourths, fourths, 1 fourth, 2 fourths, 3 fourths, and 4 fourths. Well, we see that 1 is equal to 4 fourths. Well, let's go a little bit further. So let's say our number line falls between 0 and 3, just like above. So I have 1, 2, 3. Now, I can still divide them in fourths. And I would have 0 fourths, 1 fourth, 2 fourths, 3 fourths, 4 fourths, 5, I'll put that on there, 4 fourths, 5 fourths, 6 fourths, 7 fourths, 8 fourths, 9 fourths, 10 fourths, 11 fourths, 12 fourths, okay? And typically we would label all the lines, but I don't want to take 10 minutes labeling a number line. So every time we get to a whole number, what do you notice? There is a correlation between fractions and multiplication or division. So 1 times 4 gives us 4. 2 times 4 gives us 8. 3 times 4 gives us 12. So we are taking the whole number and multiplying it by that denominator to determine what goes on top. And it even works for 0. 0 times 4 is 0. Okay, so looking at it, breaking it up into fourths, that's how we would show it on a number line. But let's say we got that 3 over 1 again, which is just an odd thing. A lot of people just tell me it's 1/3. Not really. So you're breaking it up into one piece. Well, here's one piece, right? Because that's 1. So, but you need 3 1 pieces. So there's 1 piece, there's 2 1 pieces, here's 3 1 pieces. Where do we land? Okay, so you have to remember that the denominator is how many pieces your item is broken up into. If it's only broken in one piece, I'm jumping 1 piece at a time. Okay, this one to me, this one in particular, mathematically just works out easier. So let's look at these two fractions. I'm going to write each one again down here. So let's look at 4 over 1. Now, if you look at a division symbol, it kind of looks like a fraction, except for there's a dot for the numerator and a dot for the denominator. Fractions are very similar to division. In fact, they work the same way. So this is saying 4 divided by 1. So what's 4 divided by 1? Well, anything divided by 1 is itself. 1 is like a mirror. It shows you the other number. So it's 4. Let's look at 16 over 4. So remember that line works the same as a division symbol. And in division, the bigger number typically always goes first. But in fractions, the top number always goes first. So 16 divided by 4 is 4. Remember 4, 8, 12, 16. When you're looking at a smaller fraction, it's saying the same thing. This is saying 1 divided by 2, but that's like we take 1 and we divide it into 2. So that's what a half is. Okay, so it does work with smaller fractions. It's just mentally we use it more when it comes to more than a whole. In this case, I think we should look at your math work to get some more practice. So solve each problem and it gives you an example here. So it wants to know which one best shows 2. So what this page is trying to get you to understand, that anything over 1 is just the numerator. So a numerator over 1 is just going to equal the numerator. All right. So which one best shows 2? So we're looking for 2 over 1 because that's going to give us 2. There you go. Which one best shows 10? 10 over 1 is going to give us 10. I'm sorry. Because that's what it does. So this one's not too hard. It's just getting into your brain that any number over 1 is going to give you that number as the whole. Because if I'm looking at this one, this is one whole. I broke it up into one piece, but I needed to shade in 2 of them. So there's 2 of them. This is one whole, but I need to shade in 10 of them. So I would have to get 10 whole pieces and shade them all in. Okay? And so on and so forth. So let's jump down. Okay, so it says determine if the fraction is the same as 0, half, or 1. Let's get something about 0 right out of the way. If 0 is on top, no matter what the number is on the bottom, I didn't want it to, I'm sorry. If 0 is on top, no matter what the number is on the bottom, it's going to equal 0. Sorry. It's going to equal 0. 0, however, can never be on the bottom. Because if it's division, if I have 0 items divided into 4 groups, well, I have 0 items. Because if I have nothing and I divide it up, it's still nothing. But if I have 4 items, to divide them into 0 groups would mean they would have to physically disappear. And that's not possible. Things don't physically disappear. So you can't do it. This is a big no-no. Okay. So, if if it has a 0 on top, it automatically equals 0. Okay? So, this one's going to equal 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay? 1. So 1, it either has to be the same on top, so 4 over 4. Actually, that's just it. It just has to be the same on top. So this is a 1, this is a 1, this is a 1, 1, and half. So remember that division. So what you're looking for is something that's half of something else. So you're dividing it by 2. So 12 divided by 2 gives you 6. So this is a half. Sorry, that's terrible too. 8 divided by 4 gives you 2, so that's half. Alright? So you're looking for, is the numerator half of the denominator? Is the numerator 0? Or is the numerator 1? Or sorry, is the numerator the same as the top or bottom? Does it equal 1? Okay. Okay, let's take a recap. So, if the numerator is 0, the answer is 0. The denominator cannot be 0, ever. Breaks the rules of math. If the numbers are the same on the top and bottom, it equals 1. If the number is bigger on top, you can use division to find out what the whole number is. Or you can use, conversely, multiplication to figure out what fraction would be on the whole number. You multiply the whole number by the denominator to get the numerator. Fractions are all multiplication and division. I mean, we can add and subtract fractions, but the way fractions work is all multiplication division because you always are breaking them up evenly. So you're either multiplying evenly or you're dividing evenly to get what you need. Okay, remember, if you have any questions, contact me and I can break it down even further. Good luck!